Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to the Supervision series. You are taking me either on an online class, a face-to-face class, or one of my training sessions. Mostly I'm doing this recording for my online students, but I also share that for some of my training classes and some of my face-to-face classes as a supplemental. You get the real me in a face-to-face. My online classes, this is what you see. So I'm trying to get it more interactive. We do a lot of interaction in our online classes in our forums. We discuss a lot of these topics. So remember, if you just watching this YouTube because you just happen to type in supervision or motivating employees, you could get this is a general overview. You have to take one of my courses, one of my training sessions to get the detail. I'm just going to give you a high level of what we've discussed in class. It's just like a summarization or a capstone of what was discussed during the lecture or the training session that we had. So let's talk about motivation. And we're going to look at this from motivation of a supervisory position. So I'm looking at first-line supervisor or a small business owner, entrepreneur that's growing and now is bringing in more, he or she's bringing in more, what do you call it, employees. When I say he or she, because there's a higher percentage of women that are basically starting up their own business. There's a higher percentage of women now that they're in the workforce. I mean, they've always been in the workforce, but a higher percentage going back into the workforce because of the economy and and other external factors. So you're going to have more women supervisors, and women manage, as we've talked in other previous research shows. There's no difference in the what do you call it, the performance level or the goals being met by women as men. They manage a little bit different. You know, like it or not, men manage a little differently, more directive, assertive. Women are more nurturing and team building, and we basically need both of those two elements in one individual. So so when I'm looking at it, the skill sets that a man brings in, assertiveness, aggressiveness, and focus and directive, I also need, for that same individual, I need the team building, the nurturing, and everything else to make the team work well. And taking those two elements, now that we're going to look at our employees, how do I motivate the employees that work for me? Okay, so what's motivation? So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to go, you already have access to my concept maps, you already did the reading material, so this is going to be like a quick overview, so just kind of give it my own spin on it. So if I'm looking at, let me just expand this, I got this up to, let's go about 200, okay? So now, if I'm looking at the theory of motivation, it's a psychological process that arouse and direct goal-directed behavior, giving people incentives that cause them to act in a desired way. Each employee is motivated by different needs. You know, when we talked previous sessions we had, we talked about span of control. A span of control, you figure, even though I'm middle, first-line supervisor, 10, 15, 20 to max. You don't want more than that, all right? A direct report, I may be a superintendent of a whole district, and I may have 400 people working for me, but I really only have 10 people that I manage, and they have 10 other people, and it works down through the chain that we discussed before. But each of those individuals, I as a first-line supervisor, have to know what motivates them. Look at those of you who got friends or sibling or thing. You know how you could motivate the different individuals. We all have different triggers that get us upset, and we all have different needs and wants. And that's how motivation is. How do I satisfy certain needs and wants and in a timely way that motivates them for a goal-oriented, so he or she could receive a reward, whether it's money or praise or compensation or promotion that fulfills that need. Something like in marketing. You can't sell anything to anybody unless there's a need to be filled. So what you're going to be looking at motivation, and you're looking at unfilled needs, you're looking at motivation, we're going to talk about the theory, you search for ways to satisfy the needs, you're looking at different behaviors of the individuals, and how do I match my motivational tool to that behavior, and you're looking at rewards. And rewards is a real not that hard, but if I look at rewards, there's two types of rewards. Extrinsic rewards pay off, money and everything else we're going to talk about later on. A whole thing as money as a motivator. We have that right back in here. But you have extrinsic rewards is the praise in the back. How you doing? You're doing a good job. I appreciate you being here. Here's some flowers. Here's some candy. Take a day off. Those are all extrinsic. Employee of the month. All those things are extrinsic. We like those because it's kind of like the nice stroking. But the things that really motivate motivates an individual, when you look at all these different theories, and there's the content theories, the reinforcement theories that we're going to be talking about, all those different theories basically are aiming at the intrinsic, the inside, the satisfaction the person receives from performing a certain task. If I could make the job something, by giving them a responsibility, accountability, giving them flexibility, autonomy, where they could do it. They still have to meet the goals. Not like they don't have to do anything, but they could control how they achieve those goals. The path goal system. How do I do whatever I need to do to achieve the goal, the praise, the promotion, whatever. And that's what motivation is. So the intrinsic is really the heart. You need the money, but you only get paid once every 2 weeks, or twice a month, or every 2 weeks, or you got a raise every 6 months. How's it going to motivate you? How are you going to motivate a person to make the long haul? I mean, I've got the reward now, but after a while, I need those little motivation, those little perks, or words of praise, of words of motivation. Okay, because remember, as a supervisor, you are a coach to the individual. So here we're going to talk about certain tools. The biggest thing is feedback reward. When they have some certain rewards as a first-line supervisor, you're limited to what you could do. I mean, because the company's policy. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what you could do as a supervisor to motivate individuals. So, and one of the things you can ask, hey, where we're at, my limit, my budget. What would be a good reward for the team? What would be a good reward for an individual? So you're trying to find that one thing that could satisfy the needs, the reward process that you as a supervisor could do at a smaller scale to each individual. And it's easier than you think. Once we finish this lecture, those of you who have already been reading it and utilizing my concept map. Remember, the concept maps are a good tool when you're doing it for studying or doing it for exams. If you're taking me for at a college level, or if you're taking me for a workshop and you have to have certification that you understand the basic theories, then these are nice. Because this right here, if you look at this whole thing here, you're looking at about 70 slides, PowerPoint slides, if I had to do a formal presentation. And here, real quickly, I could jump back and forth. Okay, so we took care of motivation. Now, understanding people. Like it or not, people are different. Okay, so if I'm looking at people, different factors required to motivate different. Many supervisors, this is something a lot of supervisors fall into, they expect all employees to react in a similar way. All employees are not the same way. All you have to do is look at your brothers or sisters, or if you have kids or children, they come from the same for me, they're part of my DNA, for lack of a better word, and each one has a different personality and different things to motivate. One, I'll say, I'll give you a book and you're happy. The other one, I want a cat. The other one wants a car. So you have to understand different individuals. People do things for different reasons. The reason must be identified before you can understand a person. Before you can understand a person's behavior or modify the behavior. Okay, so self-fulfilling prophecy. Employees to live up to supervisors' expectation, good or bad. So when I'm looking at it as a supervisor, I always have to motivate. Stroke the individual to say, hey, you're doing a great job. You just need that reinforcement. No different than a relationship. I still love you. You know what I mean? Or you're still the best thing that ever happened in my life. And a lot of times that is the case. Remember, any kind of relationship, any kind of employees you're dealing with within a company, they're going to have good days and bad days. You always are looking at it. I have more good days than bad days. When I start having more bad days than good days, then you have to look at rearranging or changing, or in this case, maybe eliminating the employee or unhiring him, like they say in the business, not to hurt their feelings. Not fired, just unhired. Okay? So now money is a motivator. Money is a motivator. So if I'm looking at money as a motivator, money motivates people when it meets their needs. Sometimes, if I have a lot of money, I don't want no more money. Everyone wants more money, but if I'm going to be taxed, I say, don't give me a raise. Give me some time off. Give me something else, because if I get the raise, it's going to put me in another tax bracket, because I may have other streams of income. So money may not be the only motivator. Money gets there. You can pay me a lot of money, but if I don't like my employees, I don't like my job, you pay me all the money in the world, I'm unhappy, I'm stressed out, I'm going to go for a job that may be lower paid, but less stress, or more flexibility, more autonomy, more responsibility, or more control of my destiny. Financial rewards directly relate to output. They're able to achieve financial rewards. We talked about Frederick Taylor, the scientific method, and it was basically, from the beginning, it was basically all piecework. So now pay, different types of pays, by piecework, production bonuses, commissions, pay for suggestion. Like it or not, if you do something, you don't have to give them much money. It just shows you that you value their input. And, because they know, if you're working for a smaller company, you can't pay them like you do for Motorola or for Apple or some of the larger or Apple, but you could give them enough to compensate. Hey, I really appreciate what you did. And that means just enough, because inside they got the intrinsic. They like that. It's just a nice little bonus, for lack of better words. Okay, so the traditional way, that was money was the traditional side. Let me just get rid of it. Now, let's talk about Maslow and hierarchy need. They have physiological, safety, belonging, esteem, self-accusation. But in a nutshell, let me just show you the pyramid. The pyramid basically said these are basic needs. For me, before I worry about security, and security could be not a job loss, I got a contract, nothing's going to happen. So when I'm looking at this, I take care of the pay, they get basic needs, they get paid so they could take care of the basic needs, the rent, the family, food and everything else, a little bit disposable income. Then they worry about security. How long will I have the job? You know what I mean? Safety at the work. And then I go into social need. These are all needs. So money took care of, I satisfied the money need. Now I'm looking at the security needs. Now I'm going to go into social needs. And social needs, people like to belong to people. People at work like it or not, you spend more time at work than you do with your loved ones at home. Your loved ones vacations, so quality time. But look, you're 40 hours, 8 days a week at work. So some people like that flexibility or work at home. Those are other things you can motivate an individual. And then you get self-esteem, and you look at self-esteem. What's self-esteem here? Praise, recognition, self-accusation, self-fulfillment. I actually understand everything. I'm there. I'm at the top of the game, for lack of better words. And at that time, some people are happy and they can spend the rest of their career that way. Other individuals, if they're self-motivated or achievement-oriented, like I myself am, and most of you are, because you come into taking my class or looking at this workshop, this lecture, is basically you've reached the peak of your career in that job, not in your career, in that job or career at that point of time. Now you want to advance, either move up the ladder or go on up, and then the process starts all over. But remember, what comes up comes down. So if I'm up here and this, and all of a sudden I got divorced and I got kicked out, or I lost my or something else, I fall back in here. So what motivates me here is money. Here is something else, security. Here is more, I like the interaction. So you have to always understand the individual. You have a span of control of 10 to 15 individuals. You should, after a while, be able to understand what motivates each one. And a good supervisor knows their employees. Even a manager knows their direct report. So remember, you have to know them. I'm not looking about know everything about their personal life. What motivates them at work? Why they're working for you? And if they don't like the work, they got a poor attitude, then it's time to let them go. Okay, so that's Maslow. You're going to go through a lot of different theorists. Now, there's no one way to motivate, because we're all unique. So this way, so the next one we're going to look at McClelland's acquired need. If I look at acquired need, 3 major motivators in determining people's behavior in the workplace. Need for achievement. We like to achieve. I got to make sure. Stretch me. I want to make sure that works on the intrinsic. Need for affiliation. Again, they're taking what Maslow talked about, the hierarchy, and I could bring him back in here. Let me look at Maslow, just so you understand. Put that down here, and then so I put the rest of them. Remember the hierarchy? So affiliation, that's a social need, and need for power. As I go up higher up, we all like to be in charge. I may not want to be a supervisor, but I may want to have some power. And power is broken up in different ways for individuals. Some of them may be reverent power, they got expertise power, or they have something in there that gives them some kind of power. As a supervisor, you've got authority, you could reward, you could punish them, so you have some power. But your employees also need some power. They need power over the job. They need power how to lay out the work. No, you got to do it this way. Come on, there's no power. I'm a robot. Then I don't need you. I can be replaced. Here's my goal. I want you to accomplish this. Some people like to do it this way. Some people do it in the morning. Some people do it in the afternoon. So they have the power to control their own destiny. That's what they're doing. Supervisor must recognize the difference in dominant needs of individuals and their employees, and alter the responsibilities accordingly. So what does that employee need? So that's all the needs theory says. Okay? Let's see where I'm at. Okay, the next one I'm looking at is Vrooms' expectancy theory. Oh, let me move this one. Before I move Vrooms, let's go with the Herzberg, because he kind of falls in here. Excuse me, I got this. I'm just going to move him over here. Okay, so if I'm looking at Herzberg, it just falls in line, because if I'm trying to do how you're reading the book. or the material that I provided. It goes in this order. So at this time, it works a little bit easier. Now, Herzberger, he looked at two things, or several things. He basically, his theory is basically looking at, he's saying proposed that work satisfaction and dissatisfaction arise from two different factors. Why are people happy at work and why dissatisfied? That's just sort of the basic theory. So he came down to two things. He looked at hygiene factors and he looked at motivating factors. Hygiene factors are basically, let me see if I can get this just a touch bigger here so it's easier for you to see, and I'll bring it down. Okay, hygiene factors are basically factors associated with job dissatisfaction, which affect the job contents in which people work, pay, security, working conditions, interpersonal relationship, policy, and a supervisor. They still like the job, but those things are just, I don't like the, I got to drive too far. I like the job, I got to drive too far. I like my job, I work with idiots, or I work with overachievers, and I'm just a normal person, and they're all too hyper, and I'm a calm individual. Whatever. Those are dissatisfaction, but they're basically not motivators. I may not be happy with it, but if I like the job content, what you're going to find out, those are the things that are motivated. So what are the motivators? I mean, still like to pay. I do that. Some people will take a cut in pay just, even though they're not making, I mean, it's a hygiene factor because they didn't like the non-motivating factors because they were too rigid and they were winning the company or winning the policy. What motivates? That's what I want to know. Now, they already got the pay, that's done. What am I going to motivate? Factors associated with job satisfaction, which affects the job content or rewards for works for performance. Achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, advancement, and goal. We learned this, we want to go on. The younger generation, that most of us that are in here now, you're in the baby, and then you're not the baby boomers like myself. You're probably Generation Y, Generation X, and millennials. I say that all wrong. English is a second language. Bear with me. You know what I'm talking about. But what happens is, they will stay with me for maybe a couple of years, and once they achieve knowledge, they're more for growth. They want this achievement and keep on expanding, learning their knowledge. Those are the individuals I want. I don't want them to leave, so I give them the opportunity to grow within my organization. Because if they're doing that and my organization is growing, I could supply them the achievement, and they could get the promotion, and they'll stay. Those are the attitude I want. That old Protestant work ethics. I'll work no matter what. They'll do. I'm not happy. I'll work. Those are gone. The new individuals want this thing. They want the job. They want that satisfaction. And as a manager, I have to be able to provide it to them. So that means they're empowered. I give away some of my authority. I give away some of my responsibility. I let them design the job by themselves as long as they meet my goals. But I'm still watching them. I'm still in charge. Remember, I have a happier workforce. It's easier for me to manage. Managers first should eliminate dissatisfaction, making sure the working condition, pay level, company policies are reasonable. Now, the thing that I could do as a manager is job design. So if I'm looking at enriching job characteristics that are important to workers, and I have this skill variety, tax identity, tax significance, what a task significant is, it significance is important to the process, autonomy, that I got some freedom, and I always want feedback. So if I'm looking at all this, I'm going to go right here, characteristics important to U.S. workers. And this is a survey. This was done within the last couple of years. Ranked employees' top reasons. Let you read this while I'm going. Okay, let's see. Employee competitive pay base, employees top reason: challenging work, convenient work location, opportunities for career advancement, vacation holidays. Remember, those are extrinsic. A reputation as a great place to work at, flexible work schedule, competitive pay. This is employees top reason. Employers' belief about employees, competitive base, reputation, challenging work, business opportunities to learn a skill. So you can see there's a match. And then when I'm looking for employees, they're looking for could you satisfy my needs? I mean, to satisfy all of them. Let's see if I can get 4 or 5 of them. Okay, I could kind of work on that, all right? So we have that one, so that takes care of the job design for Herzberg. Now let's go into what we call expectancy theories. You got Vrooms' expectancy theory. If I do a task, I expect some kind of a reward. Either I do a task because I get, that could be a paycheck. It could be something else, a pad in the back. It could be extra time off, whatever. You're in the class. When you're looking at the class, those you're taking me for a accredited course or for a training session to get the certificate. When you're in here, when you're studying, you look at the time you're spending in the grade as academic currency. I'm paying you. You get this, now you get the certificate, you got the credit hours, you could take the next class so you could get your associate degree, and that associate degree works up to your bachelor's works up to your master's works up to your PhD, and that's the same thing I have to go. If I thought when I first started school that I'm going to go all the way to my PhD, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to do that, it's too much work, but you do little at a time. And so you tell your employees, here, you're starting off here, we're going to get the skill set, so now I'm going to develop you. You may stay with me. Hopefully you stay with me in my company, my process, but you're going to move up to the next ladder. I'll bring somebody else in. As you move up, I may move up, or I may, but now I've got a network, a connection. So what Vrooms theories is saying, you have to be able to tell your employees what they're going to expect. So employees are looking, suggest that people are motivated by two things. How much they want something, you got to make sure you find that, and how likely they're going to get to that. So I'm looking at expectancy as a belief, particular level of effort will lead to a particular level of performance. If you tell me my rewards is $10 and I got to work 20 more extra hours, hey, work yourself, buddy. Or you tell me volunteer and I do this, and what's my expectation? Nothing. You're going to feel good. You're helping the company. Okay, you volunteer. You have a good name recognition. You're doing networking. We could promote you later on because now you're doing extra activities above and beyond that's required of an everyday worker. You're showing that drive that people want for the middle managers or for the next level. That's what I'm looking for. So that's expectancy, but they have to understand it. Instrumentality is expectation that useful performance of a task will lead to a desired outcome. I was going to say, you do this, here's the outcome. And some of the outcomes I could guarantee, some of the outcomes I say, depends on the environment, because other people bidding for the job, but I will do my best to put you on your management promotion this time, but you'll have, you're up in the running. Where other people aren't even up in the running. So, you may not get it, so don't feel bad. What could I do? Why did that person get the job? And, if, I'm not talking about the political thing, but maybe that person got that job because he or she had college and you didn't. That's why you're back in school. Or he had his training certificate in supervision and you didn't. And that's why he or she has a job. Now, the last one is balance. And balance is the value a worker assigns to each outcome. Remember, some people are going to say, hey, you get the next promotion. I don't want a next promotion. I'm just a follower. Not everyone's a leader. So you have to find what's going to get that person to the next level. That's all Vrooms is saying, expectancy theory. Now the next one, now I have the expectancy theory, and I know what the individuals are looking for, what's going to motivate them. Now I have to keep on reinforcing that. Because remember, I said you're going to get a promotion in a couple of years or next year. 12 months is a lot. That's 365 days. A lot of things can happen. You got good days, you got bad days. How am I going to motivate that person to achieve that goal? How am I going to motivate someone to quit smoking? It's little reinforcement. Yeah, you could do it. You could do it. Look, you got one step. Little steps at a time. So what Skinner is taking from psychology, remember, business is all psychology because people are, we're dealing with people. So he is basically the theory is looking at this. This is the theory that comes out. It basically attempts to explain behavior. I got in yellow, it's important. Attempts to explain behavior change by suggesting that behavior with positive consequences tends to be repeated. So if I do something, look, and I'm not, my whole thing about training. My whole thing is you're training for something responsive things that I want to do automatically. Something happens, a fire comes, pull the alarm, put out the fire in this process or whatever. In case of a meltdown, I have to do this. That's got to be second nature to me. But mostly I'm more in education, educate the individual. So what I want to do, but if you're training a dog, or even if you're trying to change behavior with a kid, you behave, I'll give you a candy bar. You behave, you did it. So after a while, the person says, if I don't behave, I don't get a candy bar. So if you don't give me the candy bar when I'm doing good, I'm going to start behaving negatively so I can get that reward. So remember, you want to reward them for behavior you do. If you're rewarding them for mediocre work, that's all you're going to get. Because that's what he wants for reward, and that's what I'm going to get. So remember, make sure when you're rewarding them for work that means something that's intrinsic to that individual. So positive reinforcement is always good. Use of positive consequences to encourage desirable behavior. Reward only desirable behavior. Give rewards as soon as possible. Don't wait to, so it's a dog. You don't give them a reward next week. Oh, here's a treat because you did well, or here's a treat because you behaved in the store 3 weeks ago. Kid doesn't remember. Remember, you have to have it close. That's how you're going to change the behavior. Be clear about what the behavior is desired. Have different rewards and recognize individual differences for different people. Same rewards. I'm still trying to reward, but I may give you a gift certificate. You want candy. You want some. You want at Starbucks. You want basically at Trader Joe's. Whatever. So it's still the same amount. It's just I'm giving it to different people because I know their likes or dislikes. Okay. Negative reinforcement, remove unpleasant consequences. That makes sense. And that's punishment, time off, or taking away pay. Extinction. Now, extinction is usually they tell you if someone's bullying you, you should basically hope they go away. Okay, and sometimes they work, but a lot of times you got to face the individual. The problem with extinction, if you don't reward or even acknowledge the person is doing a good job. You know what I mean? So that person says, hey, I'm doing all this work. And look at your loved one in your relationship. I don't tell my wife every now and then, hey, I still love you. Or I don't give her any flowers every now and then. Even, you know what I mean? So I give that to her, so I don't want her to think that I do appreciate her. But I don't have to tell her, you just know I love you because you're always, I come home to you every day. That doesn't mean, people like that little extra. I know you're coming for a paycheck or work. Hey, I'm really glad you're working on my team. You're the best person in the world, okay? All right, so, and then again, you got punishment, and punishment is just application of negative consequences to stop or change undesired behavior. So that's Skinner's reinforcement. Now, if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at supervisor's action. What could I do as a supervisor to find out what kind of rewards they want, to find out how to motivate them, and does the reward actually relate to the performance? Remember, you got to, and some of this by observation, some of them you can look at the statistical, you can do some research. So make the job interesting. And some jobs, how do you make it interesting? I'm not talking about, does I have thing job enlargement, job rotation, but what else can I do to the job to make it interesting? And basically, what could I give away that I don't want to do, and I could give to the employee, and he or she now has got that responsibility, and they feel, hey, he really needs me because he's trusting me with a portion of my budget. He's trusting me with the keys to the office. He's trusting me with whatever. You know what I mean? So, or I'm making the job interesting. Oh yeah, you can do it a little bit different. Oh, that's because a lot of people are creative. We talked about creativity last year. So they'll come up with a new way to do the job or an idea. So that's how I make the job interesting. Relate the rewards to performance. Treat employees as an individual, not as a group. I'm not stereotyping. Everyone here, even your pets and your kids. Everyone wants a different. Some kids like the soup. Some kids like this candy. I love chocolate. My one daughter does no sweets at all. I don't know. Must be on my wife's side. My other kids all like chocolate, so I would just take her and buy chocolate. I don't want it, Dad. That's okay. I want it. You know what I mean? So I don't look bad like I'm always eating junk food. But you have to understand individuals are different. They're in my team. They're not all the same. They have different skills. They have different wants. They have different needs. They're just like in marketing. Different customers, different things. You only have 11 people or 15 people. You'll get to learn what motivates them. If I give them something, and you can see in the nonverbal expression, we talked about communication in the last series, and they go, oh yeah, thanks, really nice. That's just what I need. A stress ball. I have no stress. I'm really calm. So what do you like? I like some music. I don't want the ball. I like to relax, to meditate, or whatever, okay? Linking rewards to performance. A suggestion box. Encourage participation. And sometimes you're going to say, George is a jerk, or this company. Yeah, those I don't bring up. But most people, they'll come up with suggestions. They may not want to blow their own horn. It's just another way of saying, I will listen to you. I will, you know what I mean? And just don't put in a suggestion box and never do anything. Some of the suggestions I could make. People want longer hours, flexible hours. I could do it. The other thing as a first-line supervisor, remember, you may not have your limited amount of cash. A lot of times you'll have a budget for motivation, and it may be $100 for each person. It doesn't mean I get everyone $100. It's just an average, so I look at, if he doesn't do too much, I don't reward him much. He may get $5, but I have this a pool of money that I could utilize. But there's other ways to motivate the individual other than cash. Remember, they've got the raises, they got the other things. Here's it: flexible work time, okay? Flexible work thoughtfulness. Work-life balance is the surrounding. You want some flowers, or you want better air conditioning, you want shades because it's bothering your son, a skill-building education opportunity, sabbatical. Academics always sabbatical. They pay you for one semester to kind of refresh yourself. At work, it's kind of hard for sabbatical. I give them vacation. I'm going to give them a day off today with the families, or go out to dinner with your wife, and I'll pick up the tab. Most common non-monetary is instead of the flexible workplace, flexibility when you come in. I may not be a morning person. person, but I really start at 10 o'clock. So from 8 to 10 o'clock, you're really useless to me if you're not a morning person. It's good. You want that person. So okay, so start at 10 o'clock and work instead of to 3 o'clock, but work to 5. It works out well. Or you have a lot of people who have their two families or two, the husband or the wife or the partners are both working. A lot of people now, if you look at the demographics, the shift in demographics, marriage is down, but a lot of people cohabitating together, cohabitation. They're living together, but they're not married. They figure we don't want all the strings. We love each other, and it keeps our marriage together. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Look at me. I'm not one doing anything else with that. I'm just saying this is reality. It's my employees. So I may drop off my wife, or my partner may drop off the child in the morning, and I pick them up in the afternoon. So I want to basically get off earlier in the afternoon, but I can come in earlier, and vice versa. I got to drop them off in the morning, make sure they're all right. So I like to come in earlier. What's the difference? You still, as long as you have your core. Most of the people, when they know when you're open, some stores are open at 8 o'clock, some stores are open at 10 o'clock. Why? If you look at the Home Depot, Menard, contractors need early, they're open early. But some stores, it doesn't make sense. There's no customers in the morning. So I'm open at 10, but open later when they come up from work. But I have that core hour, and we talk about flex time. Okay, companies create work environments conducted to productivities. Companies help employees build their skills by developing shadowing programs and offering tuition reimbursement so you can learn. And I'll pay as long as it's something that benefits me in my department. Okay? And it's not that much. And here's how a lot of the tuition reimbursements works. I'll pay 100% as long as you're going to community college. I'll pay taxes now anyway. So I'll pay 100% if you get an A. I'll pay 80% if you get a B. I pay 70% if you get a C. I pay D. If you get an F, I wouldn't even turn it in because what the heck, it looks like you're not very bright, for lack of a better word. F's you don't want to do. Now, when you go to school and everything else, I understand if my subject matter is business, let's say marketing, I should be at least getting B's and A's in that field. If my subject area is management supervision, I should get B's and A's in that field. That's my discipline. This is what I love to do. I want to make sure I'm good at it. That's what I'm going to be. That's my skill set. That's what I'm coming in here, the tools I'm going to say, pay me for this job. The thing that you have to look at, and you have to remember that you have to look at, is that not everybody let's see, sabbatical developing teams work at you know what I mean. So I didn't do too good at film class. I took a film class. I was going to easy elective. I get a D, barely passed film class. So it was a bunch of movies. I'm going to watch old movies. I had to look at the light. It wasn't my forte. It didn't really affect me when the supervisor looked, oh, film, you didn't do too good at film. Okay, I'm not hiring you as a film director. I'm hiring you as a marketing person. Do you see what I'm talking about? So those skill sets I'm looking for that I have the ability to do that. Now, satisfied employees. If I'm looking at satisfied employees, how do I satisfy employees? Why do I want satisfied employees? If the employee is satisfied, I have a higher commitment to the company. Turnover, absenteeism, results for lack of satisfaction. They come in late. They leave the company, and every time I turn over, I got to retrain the individuals. Okay, organizational morale is up. We have that. Job satisfaction, employees' attitude towards the job is better. Individuals' attitude towards the job increases. Working condition. All this is I have a satisfied employee. I got a happy employee. What does that mean? I have a happy workforce. A happy workforce equates happy customers. Because if I am in a bad mood, my customers, even though I try not to, I'm saying, yeah, here it is. Go over there. Fine over there. I may not be rude, but I'm not as friendly as I should be. All right, so that takes care of our supervision series on motivation, motivating employees. As supervisor, you have a lot of things you can do. Take them out for lunch, buy them a cup of coffee. Doesn't cost you much. You can write off on the petty cash, or you can write it off as a motivation or as employee expense reward. A lot of companies have a budget for motivation or a recognition. Let's say it's not motivation. I think it's just recognition. So you have some money, utilize it wisely. Use a lot of the non-monetary ways. They still want to pay the money, but after that, I give them a little rewards. I give them little trinkets. And not just hide. I do it in front of the team. George received this certificate because he had the most satisfied customers, the best customers, the employee of the month. And remember, you look at the individual. And I'm just going to end this. If I look at everyone, the whole thing, everyone's different. So if I say everyone wants to be an employee of the month, I'm working at Walmart, I'm working wherever I'm working at, Target or whatever, and sometimes you walk in and employee of the month is George Mochocki. I may not want my picture out there to let people know I'm an employee of the month. I may be a humble person, or I don't want people to know I'm working at that place. Remember, you try to relate to the store or to the business. So that may be a demotivator, because if I get it, I have to be in front of people. I got to take pictures. I got to be interviewed. Oh, congratulations, George. How did you do this? And that may be a demotivator. Remember, every individual is different. Do not try to, you have these different tools all around here, different theories, different things that you could use to motivate, and you don't have to use them all at once. You have to use different things, different triggers or different rewards for different individuals, depending on the task, depending on the complexity of the task, depending on the individual, depending on the individual's culture. And remember, it's not that difficult once you understand your employees. What does that mean? You have to build a relationship with them. You have to talk with them. You have to be understanding with them. You have to not talk to them in a group all the time because they're more defensive. Talk to them one-on-one. When you're walking down the hall, hey, how you doing? Or you're there, hey, come on, it's a little slow today. Let's go. I can go check this job out. Come on with me. Instead of just waiting here and having to do mediocre work, take them out with you every now and then. So they say, oh, this is kind of nice. This is what I do, and just get to know them. Once you know them, if you look at the TV program, the boss is hidden, and he comes in there and he finds out an employee. What does he find out? Because he finds out employees are talking to them. Well, I wish this boss did this. I got my families. I'm doing all these 3 jobs. What's motivating them? They want more money. What's more? They're going to school. I wish someone would pay for my tuition for my book, or my daughter's going to school. So I understand those are the things, and I could kind of help them in one way or the other. So that's it for Supervision, Chapter 11, Motivating Employees from a Supervisor's perspective. You may take me from other series, how motivating employees from a managerial perspective, or from the next level, from my direct reports. This is for my individual hourly workers, or and how do I motivate them. So again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and I'll see you in the next series. Have a nice day. Bye.